Subtle skills, big results.
Welcome to the Ninja Selling Podcast.
Welcome back to the Ninja Selling Podcast. Matt and Garrett back with you again. Good morning, everybody. Well, as you're getting into this episode and you're wondering where in the world are all these thoughts coming from and what do these guys represent, go check ninjaselling.com out if you want to learn more about our coaching program and all the amazing coaches that we have there. Go check out the coaching tab, or you can look at ninjacoaching.com. And if you want to connect with Matt and I and a whole bunch of amazing people that listen to the podcast, we have a community for you. It's called the Ninja Selling Podcast Community. It's in Facebook. You're welcome to join us there. About 16,000 people, give or take. They're amazing and a super supportive group. We are proud of everybody in there. Love to call them all friends. Not all my friends, because I don't know all you guys that well. But we'll call you friends today. And appreciate you guys. Thanks for joining us. And Matt, let's jump in, man. How are you doing today?
Let's do it. Good morning, Garrett. I'm great, man. How are you?
I'm really good. Had some extra free time lately, so I've been doing some things that been catching up on some stuff, which has been kind of nice to catch up on some things.
Always good to catch up on the things that aren't like the A-list priority. And hey, everybody out there listening feels a similar way, I'm sure. As realtors, you run a busy life. If you have a family, you have that going on. And then there's like that project that's just kind of like it would be a nice thing to do. And then all of a sudden you have the time to do it. It just feels so good.
Well, I know that some of you have been remotely on my journey of me personally, myself, remodeling my kitchen. This last weekend, I got to run a gas line and we actually got to hook up an oven, which I haven't had an oven in my house. And it's not because I couldn't afford an oven. I haven't had an oven in my house. It's literally the work. It's the time and the energy. And I know everybody's like, dude, hire people to get it done. Yeah, I have a problem. I'll put it that way. I have a problem. But we actually have an oven now.
Hi, my name is Garrett, and I am a DIY
I have a problem.
addict.
We actually are like, every time we cook something in the oven, the whole family like high fives right now. And we're like, look at that. We actually cooked in an oven. It's the little things in life that we all are celebrating right now and having fun with. So, all right, man.
And quite the oven it is. Garrett, I'm excited to talk about today's topic because I don't know if this is just becoming more common in general or if it just happens to be a theme going through my coaching calls right now, which is one, connecting with your ideal customer and making sure that we're having the conversations with the quote, right people in our database. And then two, which is how often are we having those conversations? How often does the communication happen? Because from what I see, it doesn't happen often enough.
Yeah. This goes back, Matt, to where when diagnosing people's businesses. I mean, a lot of people go like, well, what does a coach do? Like, are they just accountability, or like, what does that look like? And a lot of times when we get, somebody's business is brought to our world, the first thing we have to do is diagnose what in the world's going on. And I have found many people that I have coached over the years that they're like, I don't get it. I've got a big database. I'm doing all the stuff. I'm sending out all these notes. I'm doing all these things. But what they've done is they've casted a net over such a wide area. And I'm like, oh, you're trying to fish the entire ocean. Like, I get it. You are definitely doing a lot of stuff. But when you're like throwing one line in here and one line in 50 miles away and another line 50 miles away in the ocean, like, guess what? Like, you are spread so thin across this entire area that you can't be effective at all. And Matt, what I loved when we were kind of getting ready for this is where honing this back in to say, okay, no, well, what is the area that I want to fish? Well, let's get even more honed in on here. Like, what kind of fish do we want? Like in the San Francisco Bay, we can go fishing for shark. We can go fishing for bass. We can go fishing for sturgeon. We can go I can go on and on and on. There are salmon that go rolling through there, but they're all interested in different bait. They're all sitting in different temperatures of water. They're all doing different things. And that's why you'll never find a boat, Matt, that goes out and they're like, well, what are we fishing for today? Everything, man. We're fishing for everything. Well, I would be like, I'm going to find a different charter. Like,
yeah.
See you guys later.
Yeah. That's such a great analogy. And because I think in real estate terms, like people are like, I just need business, right? And I'll just take business wherever. And you can, like, it works. You can mass market, you can try to fish everywhere and you're going to get a few deals here and there. But if you're sitting there thinking, gosh, I'm not getting the deals that I want, I'm not doing the transactions that I really would enjoy doing, well, then we need to fish in a different part of the ocean or stream or wherever we're fishing and say, first identify what do I want to fish, and know that depending on what your database looks like, you may have more work ahead of you than you think.
Yep.
If I'm sitting here in Charleston, South Carolina, and I want to fish what we got here, awesome, easy. Find a friend, get a boat, go out and fish. If I want to fish King Alaskan salmon, I got a journey I got to go on because I don't have that here, right?
It doesn't matter how hard you fish in the in the Atlantic Ocean.
Yeah, no matter how hard I fish right here in the Atlantic, in the rivers and streams and creeks that we got, I am not getting a King Alaskan salmon. So I got something. So when people are this, I see this, the reason why I bring that up is people are like, well, I want to do more luxury real estate. I'm like, well, who in your database owns luxury real estate, or is it around that world? And they're like, nobody really, maybe one or two people. I said, okay, well, we need to go build that up. But let's say you are like, hey, I really want to look for downsizers or move up buyers or first time buyers. Well, do those people exist in your database? Oh yeah, they're there. Great. How often are we talking to them? How often are we getting out on the boat to go fish? Because if I go fish once a month, I'm not going to stock my freezer for that entire month. I got to get out there and fish every day.
Well, and you brought up the luxury side, and I watch a lot of people that are like, well, I'd love to help people with investing. Well, it's like, okay, so if your entire database is first-time home buyers, and there's probably out there people saying, wait, whoa, but there's a whole population that they're buying investments before they buy their first home. Got it.
Great.
But when you look at your database, believe me, if I looked at my database when I had my first-time home buyers and I was starting and selling real estate, if I'm thinking about, I'm talking to all of them like, now that we bought your first home, let's start investing. Like, it's the wrong audience. They're just trying to figure out how they furnish their house, and they're trying to figure out how they live in this house. And the idea of buying an investment property is a foreign concept to them. At the same point, there are people in that town, in that area, that if I'm hanging out in the right spots, if I'm talking to the right people, all of a sudden you can find those people that need to be investing. For instance, I have a gentleman up in Seattle that he comes from the estate planning world. And there's a long ways back, he said, yeah, I'd love to be doing more. How do I market myself so more people understand that I offer this service? And we went down postcard ideas and things like that. And I'm like, by the way, I'm like, who do you know in the estate planning world from when you used to work in it? And he started giving me a list of all these people that were currently estate planners and people in that time of these people's lives that would come in. And I'm like, how are you doing staying in flow with those people? And he's like, man, like I know them and I talk to them. And we created an entire plan around how are we going to up our game, up our flow with those people. And now he is their go-to person. Like, and it's the majority of his business. He runs an incredible business. By the way, this is Ted Bash up in Seattle with Windermere. Ted runs an incredible business around this. It's a huge part of his business, but he's built this in over time, getting hyper-focused in it. But he had to develop, just like you said, Matt, he had to develop who are the key players that are the ones that can help me get there. And I think there's two sides you can do this. And so I'll throw this back to you in a second here, which is there are some people that go into it with who are the key players that can help me help those people? And who are the key players that I can unlock more business and put more commissions in my pocket and sell more homes if I can make this happen? Both are viable business strategies. The first one that I talked about, where you're leading with how can I help more people? How can I take care of more people? That is what the estate planners are looking for, not somebody that is hungry trying to see if they can find another paycheck. But when they realize that you are there and you are there to help their people that they are trying to help, you are now a valuable resource in their world, not some hungry realtor just looking for a commission check. And this is an important piece. A lot of times people will figure out their target audience, Matt, and then they pour into them with the wrong energy going, I don't understand why this isn't working, because they can see you as a predator from a mile away.
Yeah. And you're selling yourself. You're building relationships. You're not selling a product that basic marketing can win out on. Right.
Yep.
And so I look at this as like phase one, first step, is to identify, like, what type of business do you want to do, and get as narrow as you can. And it doesn't have to be crazy narrow, but like if you said, well, I just want, I love this answer when I have people, what's your ideal customer? People who will listen to me and take my advice. And I said, that doesn't exist. Like, what is that?
That's earned. That is earned, by the way.
Okay, but like, who are they? What do they do? Draw out your avatar. And is it a 38-year-old guy who lives in Charleston who likes to run and has 2 young kids, right? That's my ideal customer. Cool. Okay. So we're talking about somebody who's probably either on their first or second home. And at some point, they might be looking to upgrade. If they're on their first home, they probably need a little bit more space. So that's now in your database, how many people are like that? By the way, that's me. How many people are like that? And then you say, okay, great. There is my target audience. That's my ideal people. And those are the people that I want to connect with. Now, next step is, great. Let's talk to them. A lot.
Yeah.
A lot.
So, Matt, I want to go back to something you just said before we talk about the let's talk to them a lot. And I hear it also. I really wish I had people that would just listen to me and do what I want. They do what I tell them to do. And you're like, that doesn't exist. It does exist, but it's earned.
Yeah.
And I think that's what everybody really needs to understand about that. Is that everybody in their world wants somebody that they can trust that will take care of the things for them, that especially the difficult stuff. I'm having wiring done in my house right now. I have an oven and a stove in a house that has also no drywall in it. It's quite fascinating. You can picture what this looks like. It has some drywall, not everywhere though. But I had an electrician come through because I know how to do electrical work. I can do a lot of electrical work on my own. I have run into some things in this house that I'm like, yeah, I'm not touching that. Like, no. Very cool, very fancy system in here. There's no way I'm going to mess with this. We had an amazing electrician come through the house yesterday. And the first thing when he left, my wife walked up and said, he seems like a nice guy. I like his energy. I feel like he's somebody we can trust with this project. I didn't ask him, what is your background with doing electrical? I didn't ask him what, he walked around, he goes, can I take some pictures? We can definitely handle that. I can get this taken care of. I don't know all of his background, but I do know that his energy and what he came with gave me trust and confidence with him, and how he talked about certain things, and how he's like, oh yeah, this is this type of circuit. Here's how we can eliminate that and make that going. Oh, I can just clean this all up for you over here. I'm like, you know what? I will listen to you. I will do what you want me to do. I will help you so you can be successful with this project. That's what everybody's asking for out there. You earn it, and you can earn it in a short amount of time. It really doesn't take years to build, but you got to come at it with your personal right energy up front too. And that guy walked in my house with a smiling face and great attitude. And instantly I was like, feel like I'm in good hands here. Keep that in mind.
That's really important if you're going to be talking to these people a lot, right? Because the other concern then with people with the frequency of communication is, I don't want to bother them. I don't want to annoy them. Like, I don't want them to feel salesy, or me to feel salesy to them. Well, your energy, how you show up, your intentions are going to matter before you increase the frequency of communication. If you're not willing to do that, if you're not willing to say, hey, I'm going to just put my energy out here and focus on building a great relationship with this person in front of me, if you don't do that, it's going to be really hard to talk to them a lot. But if you do that, it's going to be really easy. Particularly, you chose this audience, so there's a reason why you chose this audience. Either there's like interests or something else that's going on there. So it should be fun to talk to these people. So now when people say, Garrett, like you asked Ted, how often are you talking to these people? Oh, we talk. It's like, then you find out it's like, yeah, like once or twice or maybe 3 times a year.
A year.
That's not enough. Not enough at all. We need to be kicking that up to at least once a month, voice to voice, face to face. And then we can fill in the gaps with a bunch of other stuff too. That's going to then kick up your opportunity to attract business from that group, attract referrals from that group of people. And you can get super niche on this too, Garrett. Like, you can say, hey, you know what? I would love to sell houses with awesome garages. And there's a whole different way that I look at that. It's like, awesome. You need to then network with car people.
Amazing.
You need to go build your database of people who enjoy cars, and you build that database. And then you can do that.
This takes me back to somebody. This was her name has slipped my mind, and if she's listening to this, she's gonna be like, "Oh my gosh, how have you forgotten about me?" Because I'm gonna tell the story, and she's gonna be like, "That's me." We'll come back around to that, but the story is a lady years ago that I coached up in Seattle. The more and more I was talking to her, she was trying to build her business and trying to grow her business. She said, "I wish I could just do more horse property and help people with more ranches." And I'm like, what does your area look like? She lives in an area called Bridle Trails up outside of Bellevue, Washington. And I said, "Oh my gosh, you're in an incredible area for that. Like, it's not named Bridle Trails by accident. Like, this is a wonderful community that is horse loving people." And it's interesting is I said, you need to go spend more time down at the stalls. That's where you need to go and hang out and talk to people and meet people. And it's like, if you were a golfer, go hang out at the country club. If you want to sell more golf properties, go hang out at the country club where people who play golf, you can meet them and you can talk to them and sell that dream to them, or at least help them understand what that dream is. You got to go put yourself around these people, because the minute she started hanging out in the horse stable, she's like, "Oh my gosh, I was helping this lady clean out her stall and we're sitting there chatting, and all of a sudden I realized she has a house she has to list." Amazing how that works. Like, this isn't rocket science. It's just putting yourself in the area of the most likely results that you want to receive.
Yep.
And Matt, I brought up energy and you went back to it, is that when we talk about this frequency of interaction being this every 30 days, I think it freaks a lot of people out, especially when the relationship isn't built, or if we are in pursuit mode. And I think a lot of us in times of our business and times of our career can find ourselves in pursuit mode. And we find ourselves in pursuit mode. Yeah, 30 days can be tough because we're on the hunt, and they know we're on the hunt, and they can feel it from a mile away. They can tell when they're being stalked. And that's that fine line of when you're not on the hunt, you are more attractive. We watch this in relationships. I've got 19-year-old daughters right now. And it's funny when they're like, "I'm done with boys." It's like all of a sudden boys show up in their life that are going like, "Hey, like, hi guys, like, hey, can we hang out? I want to go get," like, when they're like, in this hot pursuit of trying to find a boy, it's like all of a sudden they're just like, "I'm single." Like, it's the funniest thing that you watch as they're in this dynamic chase and receive relationship energy out there. And it's like, yeah, it's like people can see this from a mile away. So I think that 30 days, it is critical that you're talking to them at least every 30 days, and we can go deeper into that. But for the most part, if it's feeling forced or uncomfortable, if you can feel that it's forced on their end, it's probably your energy.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely is. And if your pool of people is big enough, if you have one person who's kind of not a fit, because maybe there's personality, differences.
Yep.
That's totally cool. You may not vibe with everybody. Great. You got other people that you can talk to. And now this frequency thing, let's talk about this here just for a second, because if you think about it too, once every 30 days is 12 times a year, 12 conversations a year. Could you have 12 conversations a year with somebody? Yeah, you probably could. And here's the thing too, like, I totally am on board with the every 30 days, but it doesn't have to be mechanical. Sometimes this like acts a little bit like an accordion. There's going to be periods where maybe it's going to be 6 or 8 weeks because there's vacations or we're out of season for the thing that's of common interest. And then there's going to be periods where your interaction is going to be very, very close. It's going to be like once every other week. Like if you're really into football, well, come football season, you're going to be talking to people a lot over that season, right? And then out of season, you're going to accordion out a little bit. You're going to wait until draft time. You're going to wait until big news and all that kind of stuff to talk about those things. But you'll have learned enough during the scrunched up accordion times, for lack of a better terminology there, that, oh, wait, I also know that his kids do this or his wife's into this. And those can become talking points as well, or reasons to talk to them when the accordion is widened out a little bit and those gaps get bigger. But it doesn't always have to be like, oh, it's 30 days. Let me pick up the phone and make a phone call, because that's going to feel mechanical. The intention's not there. You want to be aware of it, but you don't want to make it mechanical.
So if you think of, I look at like relationships, like almost like layers of a cake. It's like you can have a 1-layer cake, which is, yep, I know the Jacksons because my daughter plays with them. Our daughters play on soccer together. I know the Jacksons. There's another layer up of like, oh, their other daughter is in real estate. Interesting. Okay. That's a layer now that I've added in. Oh, his wife, Miss Jackson, she's in real estate. Ooh, got that. So we got that up there. You start putting all these things on. Oh, they have a boat and they like to go water skiing and things like that and hang out at the lake. That's another layer we start to add on.
Sounds like a really big cake.
World travelers, they like to get out and they like to see the world. We put those layers on. So what happens is that a lot of times we're also, as you were saying, it's like an accordion. It is very much this crazy, like wide accordion when we're waiting for the world to dish up opportunities when it's like, oh, it's football season again or it's soccer season again. So I get to see all these people that I haven't seen or been able to talk to. But if you take the time, as you're saying, to build the layers of this cake, build the layers of this relationship, if you think about your best friends, the people you're most comfortable picking up the phone and talking to, it's because you know a lot about them. You know a lot of the things that make them who they are. We got lots of things to communicate on, lots of things to catch up on, lots of different elements. That's all valuable because it all brings value into their world when you want to ask them and talk about it. And by the way, I'm genuinely interested too. It's how a good relationship works. It's a mutual give and take. It can't just be going, okay, what am I going to say next to make them feel special? Oh, how are your kids doing? That was a good one. Okay, what's the next one? Taking your dog on a walk lately? And then the back of your mind going like, I really don't care about their kids and about their dog, but I'm going to ask this. That is broken and weird. And it's like, this has to be mutual. And as you're building the layers of this cake, I'm looking at it and going, ooh, world travelers. I love traveling. Sarah and I and my kids have traveled all over this world. I can talk all day long about where do you guys stay? What do you like to do? Do you stay in the resorts when you guys travel, or do you stay in the smaller areas that you can get like a sense of what it's like to live there? Do you do the touristy types of things, or you try to do the back kind of stuff, the stuff that nobody knows about? Like all these types of things, even to like, do you travel on points? Or do you like, have you guys figured that out? And how do you do it? And like these conversations can go deeper and deeper and deeper because we have like interests, we have commonalities, and these layers of the cake, that's what you're trying to build. What are the layers that I have a like and common interest with this person? And we keep building and we keep building and we keep building. So like, for instance, in my world, when I have somebody around me goes, oh, I have twin boys. Like, well, I hate to say it, I got an instant connection with you because I can be like, oh my gosh, I got twin girls. You know, how's it been raising the boys? Like I've always been kind of grateful I had girls because I think twin boys would have pulled the plaster off my walls. And they're like, oh my gosh, we can resonate and we understand what it all is, because at the same time they're going, oh my gosh, I've always been thankful that I didn't have girls because, oh my gosh, you know, like all the energy that comes around that, and boys are just kind of like do their own thing. These are real conversations I've had. We now have a bond. I have things we can talk about, things we can always go back to, things we can always communicate back. That's what we're looking for with these people. And these are called well-developed relationships is what they are. Mm-hmm. And taking this all the way back to where we started, Matt, this is knowing a target audience, figuring out who your people are. And now your job is to say, how can I develop these relationships so they're authentic and real and to the core, that now we can have a frequency of interaction that's not forced. And it doesn't have to be about real estate. That's the coolest thing. And any of you who's listening to this that doesn't sell real estate, that's the coolest part, because I don't care if you're an electrician or a baker or whatever, like it works across the board.
Yeah, actually, the more rare profession that you're in, and meaning the competition out there, the better, because, you know, you're the guy and you're the guy that they know. For people who are like, okay, great, this sounds great, but how do I start? Like, I can't just start with a phone call. Well, yeah, you can. I think one of the best ways is start with a face-to-face, like grab coffee, grab a beer, go for a run, do a workout, like do something with these people one-on-one, or maybe in a small group so that you can get to know them a little bit in that setting. And then it's going to become a lot easier to make those phone calls so that they're also kind of shorter phone calls, and follow each other on social media. My neighbor 2 doors down, he's in the middle of 75 hard right now, which I found out. And then we followed each other on Strava, which is like a activity app, you know, for running and cycling and stuff. And so like, that's where we get a lot of communication too. I'll like give him some cheers, comment on his stuff. He comments on mine. And then when I see him, when I'm walking down the street, we talk about how he's doing with that program. And then we talk about other things too, because it all leads into more stuff if you find that common ground. So I would say meet one-on-one if you can with people. grab coffee, and then follow each other on all the different means that you can, because that's going to give you all the things that you need to be intentional about learning about the people, which makes the phone calls a whole lot easier.
Well, Matt, let's make this really simple. The fundamental baseline of Ninja is ask forward questions.
Yeah.
So when you're sitting there as a nice human being sitting next to somebody on the sideline of a soccer field or at an event, this weekend I'm going, or this week coming up, I think it's actually, oh my gosh, it's tomorrow. There's a Cars and Coffee, but it's not Cars and Coffee because it's in the evening.
Ale and Octane, that's what they call it here.
Oh, it's an exotic
Which
car.
just sounds really dangerous, by the way.
Yeah. I know I'm going to be in that environment, and I'm going to have a time to sit around and go, okay, family, occupation, recreation, and dreams. A lot of times these guys down here, we're talking recreation and dreams. A lot of these cars that I'm going to be able to walk up to being like, how did this car come into your life? Like, that is learning about this thing that is their hobby. It is their things they've dreamed about. What kind of cars do you want to have? Like, if you find somebody, I know there's one gentleman I'm going to get a chance to talk to that he's got a whole bunch of cars. And I could probably this tomorrow walk up to him and say like, hey, what cars are on the list that you don't have right now? Because this guy is uber wealthy and he is a collector. We could probably have about an hour conversation over all the cars that he has on his list that he wants to have in his garage at some point in time. Family, occupation, recreation, and dreams is the fundamental things that you can start a nice, cordial conversation with people and say, it's the nicety type of stuff, but it's the thing that opens up the doors to the bigger things in those people's lives. And then you just got to be paying attention, because every answer they give has got something that will build the layer of the cake. And for me, I'm always I'm not trying to love everything that they're going to share with me. I'm trying to love the things that I have like and common interest with. That's what it is. And there's some conversations I walk away from going like, oh, it's going to be a little bit of a hard nut to kind of crack and to figure out here, because like we're two very different people. But at some point, there's always something in there where I'm like, I didn't realize you went to the University of Montana. Like, how did I miss that? And then all of a sudden, we are like in a whole groove of what it was like going to school in Montana and Missoula. And it's like, all of a sudden, it's like, yep, there's my relationship just built right there. That's all I needed was that little hook. And again, it's not trying to be, there's no win for me in it. And I think that's where we talk about people can see you coming from a mile away. If you're doing it because I'm trying to build a business and this is part of my business and I'm going to win out of this at some point by getting a real estate transaction or a commission or a sale, be real careful.
Yeah.
Because the more genuine this is, the faster it grows. The more genuine it is, the more people want to come and be around you. People love it when you pay attention to them. They love it.
They really do. Just be interested.
Yeah.
The most interesting man in the room is the one who is most interested in everyone else.
That's a really great place to leave this on, Matt. Can you say that one more time?
The most interesting man in the room is the one that is most interested in everyone else. So identify who your people are, who you want to build these relationships with, and then talk to them a lot by asking a lot of questions. And you're going to build incredible relationships that are going to be beneficial for your personal world and definitely for your business. So, man, dude, Garrett, this is a good one, man. Thank you for going down this path. This is great.
Yeah, man. Well, hey, you brought this one up. It's a good topic, man.
Yeah, but we collaborated on it. So it was all good.
We always collaborate, but you know what? You brought this one. Take ownership.
And thank you, everybody, for tuning in. We so appreciate you guys listening. If you got some great value out of this and you think there's somebody else in your world who might get value out of it, just share it with them. You know, we'd love to spread the message a little bit more and get everybody on board with all this stuff, because things like this can help any business and anyone grow. So appreciate you guys. If you want to join a great community, as Garrett said in the beginning, head over to Facebook and search for the Ninja Selling Podcast. You'll find us there. And that said, we'll catch you guys on the next episode. We appreciate y'all. Have a great one.
Thank you, everybody. Have a great day.
If you enjoyed today's episode and would like more, visit us at theninjasellingpodcast.com.
There you will also find links for more information about ninja selling and coaching. Have an incredible day.